live in Rockville Center, New York. So glad you could join us. The latest chapter of a rivalry between Syosset and Southside as the Cyclones, riding a 30-game home winning streak here in their backyard, have not lost here since 2023. Both teams 3-1 here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. So glad you could join us, and we want to thank our sponsors as well, Brian Skilled Home Care, as well as Breakout Goaltending Group. Lance Meadow, Tom Rooney with you here in Rockville Center as we get ready for a matchup that has a very intriguing history, Tom. Both of these teams, they have met 18 times going back to 2000. In 4 of the last 6, they have been decided by just one goal.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 of the better programs in Nassau County and teams that seek each other out almost every year, whether it's league or non-league. And every time they get together, it is a battle. Often a one-goal game. Very rarely is it one-sided. The coaches know each other well. The players know each other well. We're in store for a great game.
As both of these teams looking to regroup after losing their last and most recent contest. So let's take you through the impact players. I'm going to start with the road team, Syosset. And this is a team that leans heavily on Brody Waxer as well as Giovanni Accardo. They are the top 2 leaders in goals. You see Waxer's numbers. He's got 11. Accardo's got 10. This has been quite the 1-2 punch.
And that's exactly what they are. You have the ball carrier, the Dodger, and Brody Waxer. Big, strong right hand, can really shoot it. And then you have Gio Accardo, who is excellent off ball, very, very crafty when he gets the ball inside in his finishing skills.
So let's flip the script and take a look at our 2 highlighted players for Southside. There's a team that has about 6 to 7 new players in the lineup, but these 2 are very familiar. Brendan Vetter and Jack Muscarella, also 1 and 2 respectively in goals, and Muscarella is the team captain that really sets the tone, and the same thing can be said for the balanced attack of Vetter, who has 7 dimes on the season.
So Brendan Vetter is a Swiss Army knife on the field. You're going to see him play offense. He'll be on the wing on faceoffs. He's sort of the main clearing midi that they have. Very high IQ kid, extremely tough and athletic. And Jack Muscarella is the most experienced attackman for Southside. The lefty, very poised, good finishing skills, carries the ball a lot for them and initiates the offense.
Let's take you through the Syosset starting lineup for today's game. This is a team that has scored 44 goals on the season, so they're averaging 11 over the early small sample size. We highlighted, of course, Waxer and Accardo. Birch rounds out their attack. Name to keep close tabs on today is Matt Azevedo, because he's going to be filling in as the face-off man due to the injured Aiden Cleary, who unfortunately broke his wrist in the last contest. That is a huge void to fill. And then you look at their defense, a number of young names. Mallon is by far one of their best defenders. Richter is also in the mix, as well as Gerbasi, and then Josh Weisenfeld will be in goal. As we take a closer look at him, you're talking about the senior who is saving 61% of the shots he sees this season, Tom.
Yeah, he's a D1 recruit headed to LIU. He has gotten better and better as his high school career has gone on. He's also gotten bigger. I think he's excellent, super quick in the goal. His outlets lead to a lot of offense for Syosset as they like to get out and run.
He was all-county last season, transferred from Jericho as a sophomore. We look at the head coach of Syosset, John Calabrian, his 27th season, and he and Steve DiPietro, head coach for Southside, were teammates at Adelphi. So they are very familiar with one another. As both said, they try to stay in contact, and this week especially they may cross paths a little bit through text messages, but it's not easy, especially given the Nassau County rivalry. As we now will look at Southside and what to expect from this group today. Here is their starting lineup. We talked about Muscarella off the top, as well as some of their other notable stars, but Alec Notaro, he is their face-off guy. He is a hard-nosed player. John Harthon brings a lot of experience to the table. And then Jack's twin brother, John, is one of the leaders on defense, as well as Patty Curran. And then in goal, it's Jack DeSarlo, who's coming off a very impressive season a year ago, and they have been very excited about him ever since he entered the program, the junior, saving just under 50% of the shots he sees.
Yeah, you can see there in your picture, he's a lefty, He's a big guy who takes up a lot of cage. You know, being a lefty in the goal is an advantage. You don't see him as much. Very, very wide base. It makes it really hard for the shooters to find an open spot. He'll be very busy tonight. It's a talented Syosset offense. DeSarlo has answered the bell all season.
As last season, he alternated with Cole Schiffelbein. This season, it's all him. And there is Steve DiPietro, the aforementioned head coach of the Cyclones. His 19th season, a product of West Hempstead. And he helped lead them to a Nassau County title in 2024 when they went 21-1 on the campaign. We are nearing the opening face-off between Southside and Syosset. Keys to the game coming up next, right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
If you're looking to optimize your sporting event, look no further than Varsity Media's coverage. Since working with them over the course of the past 4 years through the Elite 5 New York City Football Showcase, their coverage has helped take us to the top.
Varsity Media does an unbelievable job in terms of the broadcast, backgrounds on kids, do a great job in exposure from top to bottom. I couldn't really say anything negative. It's been a great couple of years that we've been working together, and it's just fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you, the fact that you guys are here has helped grow it, really. I mean, Varsity Media's been a good partner with us now for the last couple of years. That brings this game to a much broader audience.
The level of detail and that you go to, I mean, obviously the announcers, the camera angles, the slow motions, I mean, you feel like it's being covered by, ESPN.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
He's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off. That's 3 in a row now.
Keep Varsity Media's broadcasts free on YouTube by considering an advertising sponsorship. Our coverage of local games helps local businesses get visibility in the community. To learn more about our sponsorship packages and rates, email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Back here in Rockville Center, New York. So glad you could join us on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Lance Meadow, Tom Rooney with you as we get set for the Cyclones of Southside against Syosset. And let's take you through the keys to the game. We had an opportunity to speak with both head coaches earlier in the week. And Tom, I'll let you start with what Syosset has to do to slow down Southside.
Yeah, they feel like every game starts with winning the ground ball war. We get that a lot from coaches, and I thought it was interesting that they talked about getting the offense in sync. This is an offense that he feels, Coach Calabria feels, should be putting up 14 to 16 goals a game. It's not quite at that rate right now, so they need to get that together. And they need Josh Weisenfeld to have a great game. He's going to be tested tonight. When he plays well, that usually carries Syosset.
And then let's head to the opposite side, Southside, a team that is going to have to get the better of Syosset. What exactly do they have to do today?
Coach DiPietro also wants to win the ground ball war. Obviously, that's something that we're going to see some heavy battles when the ball goes on the ground. Limiting the turnovers is super important tonight. Syosset's going to 10-man ride. They're going to come out and pressure. Southside needs to take care of the ball. And then lastly, they are a defense that really relies on their communication. They got to make sure they are together and communicating.
Southside and Syosset both 3-1 on the season. Southside lost to Manhasset in their last game, 16-3. Steve DiPietro made it very clear. He said nobody played well in that contest. And then you look on Syosset's side. Saturday, they lost to Sachem North 10-9, a closer affair than what Southside experienced. They only had 2 goals entering the second half and wound up scoring 7 in the final 2 quarters. So that was a positive for John Calabria in terms of his offense maybe turning the corner. But, Tom, as you pointed, they still feel as if they're maybe just scratching the surface of the true potential of what this offense can bring to the table.
And for both these teams, it really is early. This is Game 5. They've had 4 under their belts. I think you're going to see it's a little bit of a warmer day. You're going to see the rust come off here tonight.
So we look at the opening face-off, Matt Azevedo and Alec Notaro. In the middle of the field here, Notaro at 76%, Azevedo just below 67. And we mentioned near the top of the broadcast, Azevedo is replacing the injured Aiden Cleary, who unfortunately broke his wrist in the 3rd quarter of their last game, which was the loss to Sachem North. And it is going to be a ground ball here that initially looked like Notaro was going to pick it up, and it's still a fight. And it's the Cyclones that come out with it, and a great save there right out of the gates by Weisenfeld as he barely had any chance to respond.
Yeah, and you see Brendan Vetter, one of our highlighted players right away with the check, the ground ball, and the shot, giving you an idea of all the little things that he does.
As they'll work it around the perimeter here.
You're going to see Syosset's in a zone right now. And Southside is going to patiently look to get some shots off. That's Hawthorne there.
As that bouncer went behind the net. So they'll have a chance to reset here with 46 seconds on the shot clock. It's going to be Perner from that point position as Hawthorne gets it back. And that is going to be the first goal of the game as the Cyclones don't waste any time. It was that perimeter passing that led to a great opportunity. As we're going to take another look here at the replay, and Perner again is the one that was able to set up his teammate for the score. Jack Muscarella, the captain, with his 12th leading goal of the year.
And you see right there, Muscarella shooting around the defender. One of the really difficult things for a goalie is trying to see that ball coming out when he's getting screened by his own defender. Good job by Muscarella. Great pass by Perna.
So they won the opening face-off, Southside, and capitalized, making it a goal. Here is now Syosset off the victory, and a turnover nearly occurs there, but thankfully they're able to reset here with their top player, Brody Waxer.
Yeah, and you see a great ground ball there by Mallon, the do-it-all defenseman for Syosset. He'll take a lot of wings and also go back and play the base defense. Excellent player headed to Stony Brook.
Here's Matt Antonacci, the junior attacker, with 2 goals and 4 assists on the season. Just about matching his numbers from last season, and DeSarlo on point to prevent anything from getting past him on that shot.
I mentioned in the opener that DeSarlo is a lefty, and you see the first shot goes directly into his stick. The muscle memory of most shooters is against righty goalies, and it's one of the huge advantages there, and he's pretty good on top of that, Lance. So big advantage right there for DeSarlo, and a great answer for Southside on the defensive end.
Steve DiPietro called him a calming presence in his junior campaign after he got a lot of experience last season as a sophomore with 91 saves against 92 goals allowed. So Southside up 1-0 with a chance to pad its lead as Hawthorne collects the ground ball.
Yeah, Hawthorne's a guy we should keep an eye on. He's got a big, hard righty shot. The junior who's headed to Bryant, really their long-range threat.
Muscarella had the lone goal in this game thus far, trying to spread the wealth. And that zone defense by Syosset closing the gap. Muscarella tried to tap it in the slot, and a takeaway and a trip there as Syosset able to silence the Cyclones offense on their second possession.
Nice job there by Danny Desquie to pick up that ground ball, get the push.
And Syosset now here in transition with James Romanello. As the ball goes behind the net here, and it is going to be an opportunity for them to shuffle some personnel in. There's a chance for Syosset to tie this game with just under 9 minutes to go in quarter number 1. And you're looking at Brody Waxer. He is 2 goals away from a $150. Can he get 149? He loses control of the ball here. And it's still on the ground. And that is going to be a possession for the Cyclones with Ryan Madden there to scoop it up.
Nice job on the trail check there by Jonathan Muscarella. And he goes right to his twin there down the side. That's a good test right there from Muscarella. Waxer comes at you with a lot of speed and strength, and Muscarella answered the bell there on the first challenge.
As the Muscarella boys are going to be taking their talents to Connecticut College. Both captains of the team, Jack. On the attack, John, the defender. As the Cyclones once again using these quick, spontaneous passes to create an opening. As Tyler Samrani getting in the mix, and Perner taking back control. 26 on the shot clock, and Syosset again getting a stick in the way. The ball is still loose, and Syosset with yet another takeaway, as Muscarella could not hold on to it there with Perner. So Syosset with another chance to tie this game with just under 7.5 minutes to go in quarter number 1. And there is Waxer delivering it right past DeSarlo for his 149th career goal. And we are knotted at 1 here in the first quarter.
Great job by Syosset, realizing they had numbers here, pushing the pace. That's Beekman getting under his defender, forcing a slide, and Waxer is not going to miss these 10-yard shots. And look at the placement here. Opposite stick high, really tough save, and Waxer is an excellent step-down shooter.
And he constantly gets doubled and triple teamed, but there had a favorable opportunity as we'll have the ensuing face-off. And a chance here for Syosset to maybe see some momentum after getting the game-tying goal from Waxer, who barely comes off the field. Durability is not a question when it comes to this senior attacker.
Yeah, you're going to see Brody Waxer play some midi, offensive midi. You'll see him play some D midi. They know they have a special player. They want to get as much out of him as they can, and he's usually up to the task.
As he was all-county a year ago, here's Noah Birch, committed to Drew University. first-year starter after recording a pair of goals a year ago. He's already surpassed that tally with 3 coming in. Is Cole Beekman around the screen? Does he have an alley? And the ground ball is secured by DeSarlo.
Yeah, they like to play that two-man game to try to get a switch for Waxer. Southside did a nice job communicating through, and then DeSarlo handles that shot relatively easily.
Knotted at 1 with just over 6 minutes to go in quarter number 1. And Southside looking to untie this knot. Syosset's defense has gotten the better of them on these last few possessions.
Yeah, when you play against zone, you got to be real patient. Got to carry the zone just like they did, and you got to have some shooters like that, like Tyler Samrani, the senior who's headed to Skidmore. They got good balance here against the zone. Samrani a lefty with Muscarella, and then the righties on the other side.
His shot went wide. Off the spin, Perner loses it, and there is another takeaway for Syosset. Dario Zimbalati, the long stickman and defender coming through.
Yeah, this is an area right here where Syosset wanted to be better, and that's clearing the ball in the middle of the field with their poles. Good job right there. That was Gerbasi over to Danny Disqui.
So they get it back to Waxer. He has the lone goal for Syosset. He is 1 away from a $150 on his career. And he is in dodge mode as he unleashes it, and DeSarlo gets his stick right in the way.
Great save by DeSarlo there. That shot had a lot of heat on it. But I think if you're Southside, you'll take the spot of the shot. DeSarlo rarely gets beat from inside of, outside of 15 yards, and that's probably where that shot was taken from.
That had heat, mustard, a few toppings, a little bit of everything there, Tom.
It did. DeSarlo is one of these guys you really have to put it in the right spot or he's going to get his stick on it.
38 seconds and counting on the shot clock here for Southside.
And the Syosset zone has really been active early here. They've done a really good job of staying in the zone but putting pressure.
As Muscarella's shot goes wide, that was Jack. As they are desperately looking for some openings within this zone that Tom just talked about. They got 18 seconds to work with as they'll reset with Kieran Vetter. The younger brother of Brendan, Samrani, giving it up to Perner as they play catch. Here's Samrani with a rocket, and that passes through to put Southside back in front, 2-1. Samrani with his 5th goal of the season. His highlight this year was a hat trick against New Hyde, and he may be working on another.
Yeah, you see here that big lefty loads up. We talked about the balance. Whenever you go against the zone, you got to make sure you have lefties and righties, and that's one of those. That's a tough spot for Weisenfeld at the 5-hole. Again, with a defender kind of right in his way as Samrani is unleashing that shot. Samrani's got a big, heavy shot there, and if you're Southside, you finally figured out the zone. You were patient, and you got it to one of your shooters.
As the shot clock was getting down on that last possession, so it speaks volumes to your point about the patience. They knew the clock was ticking away, but still felt they could salvage the possession. And Notaro and Azevedo went to battle again. It's Cyclones' possession here with a chance to pad their lead.
Yeah, and it looks like Syosset might be in man here.
As Kieran Vetter nearly lost it, gets it to Reagan Patron, the junior midi. And they get it back into that point position with Muscarella.
Muscarella's got a short stick here. They love inverting them.
Jack off the spin, goes bottom, and there to secure it and prevent it again from sneaking through is Weisenfeld.
Yeah, great job of Weisenfeld of matching the stick of Muscarella. That's what goalies are taught. He drops the head of his stick, you drop the head of your stick, and that's exactly what he did to close the door.
Ricardo, the 3-year starter and senior, giving it up to Waxer.
Yeah, we see Waxer coming out of the box now as a midi. Waxer loves those big downhill dodges. Might get one right here.
As Beekman trying to give it up to Waxer. The ball is knocked loose. It's a ground ball battle, some physicality here near the 50-yard line. And it is going to be Syosset possession here with Waxer immediately jumping out of the gates. And a pass right down low and a slam dunk for Giovanni Accardo. His first goal of the day. And in a blink of an eye, we are knotted at 2.
Yeah, one of our players to watch in the opening. And watch, Accardo just finds the space, right, in that unsettled situation. You get the call at midfield. It's unsettled coming the other way. He's got a knack of finding himself in the vision of a passer to get a pass just like that, and he's not going to miss from there.
So Accardo keeping pace with Waxer. That was his 11th goal. He's still now one behind his teammate as they each have 17 points now on the season. Just under 2 minutes to go in quarter number 1. This has been an eventful start to this game, and the pass high to Muscarella. He's going to catch up with it. As the Cyclones looking to issue a late statement here in quarter number 1 as they'll give it back to Hawthorne.
Yeah, Southside missed an opportunity there. They had numbers. Notaro, sometimes those face-off sticks are, they're a little funky when you're trying to pass and catch.
Samrani fakes, then tosses off the deflection. Southside still in possession as they got the reset with Brendan Vetter. And the pass inside is going to result in a goal. Southside continues to put the pressure on Syosset. Dylan Berenbrook, the sophomore, with his 6th goal of the season, and it's Southside back in front 3-2.
Yeah, great look inside. And you see Berenbrook here with the little backhander into the cage. When you have a ground ball scrum, Lance, you want to move the ball as quick as possible and take advantage of guys trying to find their men. That's exactly what Southside did. Nice job. Got some late fireworks here.
And I thought Brendan Vetter may have made the play of that possession, the quick outlet pass, reset, and that's how they got it inside for the goal.
Yeah, super smart, high IQ Brendan Vetter. Talked about him in the opener. He just does a little bit of everything. We see a look at his brother there, Kieran. I think Kieran is poised for a breakout year. Was a big year for their football team, big year for their basketball teams. He's just getting himself into lacrosse shape.
So just under 30 seconds to go. They can hold here for the final shot of quarter number 1 and potentially pad their lead as this ground ball passes through. And Southside unable to save it with Jack Muscarella. So now Syosset here with 16 seconds.
Yeah, if you're Syosset, I think you want to find Waxer as fast as you can.
Ball on the ground, picked up here by Romanello. And how about last-second magic? The guy that Tom just mentioned, wax on and wax off for Brody Waxer with his 150th career goal. This is going to be one for the memory banks. At the very last second, a behind-the-back swish through the net to tie the game at 3.
Yeah, super crafty on the finish there for Waxer. Finds himself on the left side, so he does a little backhand twister into the goal. But that really is all set up by the short stick midi there, James Romanello. Great athlete for Syosset, big-time basketball player. Just gets to the ground ball. That's part of that ground ball battle we talked about in the opener. Here's Notaro with a chance.
2 seconds to go. Can they get something off here? And Perner can't hold on to it, and that is going to do it. Each team with 3 goals in quarter number 1 as Brody Waxer has 2 of the 3. But let's take a look at Samrani putting a lot of power behind that push through the net as he and his teammates locked up at 3 with Syosset here in Rockville Center on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Help keep Varsity Media's broadcasts free on YouTube by considering an advertising sponsorship. Our coverage of local games helps local businesses get visibility in the community. To learn more about our sponsorship packages and rates, email Ben at varsitymedia.net.
Tonight's game is sponsored by Bryan Skilled Home Care. Owner Brian Madden is a Southside grad, former Cyclone himself, and has spent over 10 seasons coaching PAL Lacrosse and RVC Titans football right here in the community. Brian, thanks for your continued support of Long Island sports and for the care you provide for Long Island families through Bryan's Skilled Home Care. One of our sponsors for tonight's game, and what a start, Tom, to this contest between Southside and Syosset. We had a last-second goal there by Waxer, and we're tied at 3 here, heading into quarter number 2.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. This is kind of how this rivalry game goes, right? It's back and forth. You see Romanello here just beating everybody down the field, and then the super crafty finish by Waxer for 150. And you were all over it, Lance. 150 goals. That's a lot of high school goals. This is what we expected. You know, 2 really good teams and 2 teams that love to compete. And here we are, knotted up, going into the second.
Michigan is going to be very excited to get a hold of Brody Waxer based on his diverse skill set. Last season, he had 39 goals and 34 assists, and we see him now with 13 goals, 4 1/4 into this season. As we'll have the opening face-off to the second quarter. There's Notaro doing battle with Azevedo again. And it is going to be a victory for Notaro, who's able to scoop it up. And he now is getting more play on offense this season in comparison to a year ago. Not a guy that just wins it and then jumps off the field. And they're excited about what he could do to add another dimension to their offensive attack.
Yeah, they've had a run here of face-off guys. The latest being Michael Melkonian, who's now up at Cornell, just one of the greatest to ever do it in New York State, and Notaro's done a really nice job.
And he mentored Notaro when Notaro was a freshman. So There's strong ties there, even from alumni. And a takeaway here for Syosset, and maybe a transition opportunity as they're going to get a shot that is going to bounce right through as DeSarlo could not secure it. And it is Dario Zimbalati, the sophomore long stickman, got out in front of the pack for his first goal of the season.
Yeah, you see Zimbalati here just rear back, and the bouncer is key. When that ball comes out of a long pole, it's really hard to track for a goalie, and then you throw on top of it the bounce, right? And that's a recipe where you're going to usually end up in a goal. Great job by Zimbalati.
I mean, he basically had a one-on-one with DeSarlo without anyone in his space.
Yeah, listen, you often do let go, poles shoot, but that time Zimbalati was ready.
And he is also helping to fill in for the injured Aiden Cleary at that long stickman position. And paying off right off the bench as Hawthorne takes a page out of Zimbalati's playbook with a bouncer out of his own back pocket. And back and forth we go as we are knotted at 4, thanks to John Hawthorne.
And I love this. Syosset's trying to match up after the face-off. And Hawthorne, I mentioned earlier, is their big outside shooter. The junior headed to Bryant, and watch him load this up. Look at the placement on this. The bouncer off stick, just a great spot. And a really nice job by Southside of playing fast off the face-off win, getting their guys on and getting a good shot early.
Hawthorne now has scored in consecutive games. That was his second goal. He also scored in the loss at Manhasset, and then another win by Notaro out of the faceoff.
Yeah, you get the sense now that Notaro's starting to heat up and get a feel for it. And Acevedo battled early. Notaro, these last couple, seems to have the pulse of the faceoff.
We mentioned near the top of the broadcast, he's winning 76% of the time. And he is going to add to that tally as Vetter gives it up to Perner.
Yeah, you got Syosset back in this zone here. You want to carry and move it quickly. Syosset makes it difficult with their pressure. It's a zone, but they do a nice job of pressuring.
And that extra pass leads to a shot, but it goes wide, as that was off the stick of Patron.
Yeah, you got the Vetter brothers up top here, and you want one defender to try to commit to two players and just kind of find that open man, and you're going to see Perner there pop behind.
And the Vetter brothers trying to set each other up there as Brendan got it to Kieran, and that one went wide as well.
And that's one of the reasons why you play zone. You got a good goalie right there. You force some outside shots, and Southside a little unbalanced with no backup.
Yeah, there was no penetration allowed on that last possession. And here we go, right out of the box, Syosset. You know, 4-4 tie with Southside.
Yeah, and we haven't seen a lot of settled offense here from Syosset.
We've seen Waxer with a pair. Accardo has one, as well as Zimbalati.
Yeah, and you're going to look at Beekman here. They initiate a lot with Cole Beekman. He's a shifty junior midi here, and he's going to be matched up with Colin Kenny, one of the real good D middies for Southside.
Beekman has 4 goals on the season. He had a hat trick in the opener against Cold Spring Harbor. And they get it to Waxer off the spin. Can he get a shot off? Instead, Antonacci is going to be the man atop the key.
Waxer again here against the short stick.
7 seconds on the shot clock. And Di Solo is right there to again prevent Waxer from getting a point-blank range opportunity.
Nice defense right there by Southside, forcing a tough pass late in the shot clock. Syosset got the switch, but Colin Kenny up to the task of guarding Waxer.
So here is Brendan Vetter heading to SUNY Geneseo. Hawthorne with a strike and a beautiful stop by Weisenfeld to get that stick right on top of the ball.
Yeah, I mentioned before, you got to get inside of 15 yards to beat Jack DeSarlo. You got to get inside of 15 yards to beat Josh Weisenfeld. He's just too good.
As we're going to have a timeout here on the field with 7:42 to go in the second quarter. It is Syosset and Southside tied at 4. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming sportscasts that you can stay locked to Varsity Media Sports Network for. More boys lacrosse, Del Barden and St. Anthony's on April 4th. And then on April 7th, Southside will be back in action, paying a visit to Beth Page. YouTube.com/Varsity Media is the place to visit. And a reminder that if you want to book a sportscast, you can contact Ben at varsitymedia.net or call 516-403-2050. An opportunity to keep fans, family, and alumni connected here in Nassau County and beyond, as we have had an entertaining collision between Southside and Syosset. Both teams tied at 4, and both teams getting into midseason form. This is game 5 for each of them, 3-1. But this has been a very difficult place for not just Syosset, for anyone to win, Tom. They are riding the Cyclones a 30-game home winning streak. And we were talking with Steve DiPietro earlier this week, and that was one of the first things he reminded us about. They have not had a setback here since 2023. That's remarkable.
Yeah, and they're starting to hang their hat on it, right? Like, this is a tough place to play, and the old protect your house kind of mentality. And, this is going to be a tough one to get to 31 because Syosset's, got the weapons, and we see Brody Waxer here with the ball. He's come to play tonight, and he's the kind of guy who can go off for 5 or 6 goals in an evening.
As Waxer already with a pair in this game. Goals number 149 and 150 on his career. And he now looks to get a screen and make his move as he's going to give it up, and that toss towards the net bounces wide by Accardo, his fellow attacker.
Yeah, nice play they drew up there, knowing Waxer's going to get slid to, and Accardo's the beneficiary.
And another shot towards the goal. And again, one that goes wide as all of a sudden Syosset showing some aggressiveness. That was Beekman.
Yeah, they go back up to Waxer here. He loves these long dodges. Watch him go to his left here. Let's see.
That's off the screen from Beekman. A little give and go action as Beekman draws the double and coughs up the ball as well as Lucas Papadopoulos, the long stickman, able to get it.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to get a cross-check on south side. Maybe Colin Kenny there on the defense. Syosset came out of that timeout, kind of spread it out, give the ball to Waxer, knowing they're going to slide, right? And you'll see Kenny just follow up here, and that's a little high. His hands are far apart on the stick, and, some of the Southside faithful didn't like it, but I think it's the right call. So we'll get our first look at the Syosset man-up unit.
So the penalty against the senior defensive midfielder for Southside, and Syosset with a fresh shot clock here, looking to move in front with this game tied at 4. There's Waxer in the mix towards the left side of your screen. As they get it into the point position, back to Waxer. Southside keeping close tabs on him, and that shot is high and wide, right off of the crossbar.
Yeah, Syosset runs a little wheel there. Wheel play, knowing that Waxer's going to gain attention. They pop Beekman off, and Accardo's the trail. Good look, just couldn't finish. Little question about the shot clock here. I don't think that was touched by the goalie or it hit any part of the cage, so they're going to have to reset the shot clock.
I wonder if it hit the crossbar, at least to the naked eye, Tom. That was the only potential that could have been in the mix here. But outside of that, I'm with you. It didn't look like it hit anyone in particular, as it then ricocheted wide. So we have the officiating crew heading to the scorer's table to discuss things and make sure that everybody is on the same page. As right now, it is showing 70 on the shot clock with 6:12 to go here in the second quarter, and the game tied at 4.
Yeah, and with 20 seconds left on the penalty, it's actually a really important call to see where they move the shot clock, and I'm not sure if they're going to.
Yeah, right now they're keeping it, it looks like, at 70. We have not seen any change to the shot clock, as they are still...
I think they're working on it here, Lance. This is kind of standard lately at high school games. Everyone's getting used to the shot clock and the reset, and not always as easy as everybody wants it to be.
Adds an extra layer of drama to some early season lacrosse here in Nassau County.
Yeah, some of these scoreboards, you need a master's degree to operate them, so not that easy.
So 70 remains on the shot clock. And here's a chance with 20 seconds to go on the penalty for Syosset.
Good pressure there by Muscarella.
And a cross feed, and that is going to result in a goal. Accardo off the slot sneaks it past DeSarlo, and it is Syosset in front 5-4 in this one.
Yeah, this is just a tremendous pass by Joseph Saueracker there. Look at that cross field pass over to Accardo. We talked about how well Accardo moves off ball in the opener. And you can see the Southside defender didn't even realize he was behind him. Great look, great finish.
As Syosset continues to use the perimeter to be its best friend. So now Accardo and Waxer have combined for 4 of the team's 5 goals. And another face-off victory here for Syosset, as again they go low side, and it results in a magical goal for the man who has been putting his stamps all over this game, none other than Brody Waxer.
Yeah, it's a great job by Acevedo, and then out to Mallon. Mallon over to Waxer. I love the way Waxer catches this low and then changes his level low to high. Makes it really tough on goalies when you change your level, right? Mallon with the long pole gets it over there, and Waxer with an absolute laser into the top corner.
So he's got a hat trick and now 151 goals on his career, and Syosset is now up 6-4 with Southside hungry to get back into the thick of things here.
Yeah, when you have a guy like Notaro at the X, this is the answer to get back into it.
And an attempted shot secured again by the crafty stick work of Weisenfeld.
Yeah, and I would guess that the Southside coaching staff would say they wanted something a little later in the shot clock. But you get a turnover here, you may get numbers in this unsettled.
As the ball, though, gets away from Jack Muscarella, he's able to secure it. And Southside is back in business here with just over 6 minutes to go. Southside that jumped ahead in the first quarter, now all of a sudden they're in a trailing position because Syosset's offense has come to life. And it is Waxer accounting for half of his team's goals.
Yeah, now they settle back into this zone, and if you're Southside, you got to make sure you're getting good quality shots here. Nice pressure by the Syosset zone.
As Ika Bellis was forced out, he was trying to get a shot off. Hawthorne now feeling it on the opposite side. Brendan Vetter. And another loose ball and a Syosset takeaway. And then we've got a push-off from behind.
So that's going to reset the shot clock for Southside. And if you're Syosset, now you got to play an extra 70 seconds here. And, yeah, the fans don't like it, but that's probably the right call. Give him a little love tap from behind.
As that was Zimbalati that was in that awkward position. So here is Southside. Hawthorne giving it up.
Yeah, this zone is, it's really slowed down this Southside. This is a good offensive group here, but this is tough to break, and it's got a little pressure to it, which is not common.
And that is an over and back. So a turnover for Southside thanks to that zone defense that we're seeing out of Syosset, and they have a chance to build a 3-goal lead as we approach the 3-minute mark here in the second quarter. As we see some personnel being shoveled in and out. The Syosset team coming in, averaging 11 goals a game, is more than halfway home. Antonacci has an alley, and it's right off of the side of the net, with DeSarlo not giving him much room to operate.
Yeah, Syosset's got a pep in their step now, playing with more confidence, and might get a throwaway there. If you're Rockville Center, you can kind of feel this game tilting a little bit, so that's a big turnover if they can capitalize.
And it's a product of that zone defense, getting some takeaways, extra possessions for Syosset. We also saw they had the man-up advantage. They capitalized there. And here come the Cyclones. Can they seize back momentum late here in the first half?
Yeah, and this Syosset zone is really extended, and a good timeout here by Coach DiPietro.
Chance for his team to regroup and get on the same page as they are trailing by a pair of goals with just over 2.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Here's a look at the last 3 seasons for Southside. A year ago, 14-5. They made it to the Nassau County Class C final. Prior to that, won the Class B state title. And in 2023, advanced to the Class B semis with a 13-5 mark. For Syosset, this is a team also that has a rich history, but last 3 seasons it's been all to the A semis in which they have fallen short. 500 each of the last 2 seasons after 11-7 mark in 2023.
Yeah, and you have a lot of seniors on this team that have been on the varsity for 4 years and are very aware of the fact that their season has abruptly ended in the semifinal, and the goal is, to get to that next level and win a county championship. And I actually thought last year was super important for the Southside program after the magical run of 24, where you finally get over the hump and you win a county championship, and then you beat East Islip and you win the Long Island championship, and then just sort of have this miracle game where you win a state championship to respond the following year by making it back to the county championship really established that this program isn't going anywhere. And Coach DiPietro, he's worked really hard. This is a community that loses a lot of kids to Chaminade, and he's talked a bunch of kids into coming back and staying, and, he's really built a tremendous program here.
Well, you brought up an interesting point following the 2024 title. They lost 27 players to graduation, Tom, that year. And even if you asked DiPietro a year ago, he was actually pleasantly surprised with how good the team was in 2025, given a lot of power and a lot of talent that was lost. I mean, 27, you're talking about a whole team and then some.
Yeah, and some generational players there, sure. Melkonian and Aiello, and I'm leaving some guys out. His son, Cole. I mean, there were some really, really good players on that team.
So out of the timeout, Southside looking to eat into this deficit. Hawthorne sealed off.
Yeah, Southside tried to run a quick hitter there for their shooter, Hawthorne. Good decision by him, wasn't there.
Here's Kieran Vetter not having much space to work with. Can Jack Muscarella create something as he goes right to left? And that shot falls wide.
And I like what Jack Muscarella did there. Just because they're in zone doesn't mean you can't dodge it. And when you catch it in a good spot, especially a pressure zone like that, you should try to dodge your defender. Got topside, just couldn't finish.
10 seconds on the shot clock for the Cyclones. Can they take advantage? That scooper by Brendan Vetter is denied by Weisenfeld. So a Syosset stop, and there's been a lot of them here in the second quarter. And that has been a difference maker as they will now call a timeout. And this time it'll be John Calabria who will be able to talk things over with his squad as they are looking to enter the locker room with a little bit more wiggle room. We talked about this program, Southside and Syosset, producing plenty of talent. And here's a look at the college commits from this Syosset squad, Tom.
Yeah, led by Brody Waxer, going to the Big Ten to play for Michigan. We've seen a lot of Jeremy Mallon here today. I think he is excellent. Stony Brook getting a good one. We've seen how good Weisenfeld is. He is really, really good in the goal. And we talked about Aiden Cleary in the opener. It's a shame. Aiden's an excellent player, face-off man for Syosset. We wish him a speedy recovery, and I know LIU is excited to get him.
As Mallon was all-conference a year ago, and Weisenfeld all-county, and here's the laundry list of where Southside players are headed.
Yeah, DeSarlo headed out to Utah. Was having a great season. Hawthorne, the big shooter, over to Bryant. You got Clarkson, my alma mater, Scranton, 3-time defending landmark conference champions. I'll just throw that in there. The Muscarella brothers going to Connecticut College, and Notaro, the face-off guy in Perna, 2 more D1 guys with Marquette and Iona, and then 2 really, really talented guys who decided on the D3 route, Samrani to Skidmore and Vetter to SUNY Geneseo, both really, really good D3 programs.
And that is just the latest chapter of the Southside program. They know how to produce them. And that is why colleges are so aggressive in pursuing these recruits. Out of the timeout with 59 on the shot clock, here is Syosset nursing a 2-goal lead. Waxer already has a hat trick as he and Beekman working up top. They go cross field, and trying to chase it down is Birch.
Yeah, nice job by the Southside staff there. They showed man coming out of the timeout. And the minute the ball was thrown behind the cage, they jumped into the zone. And Syosset got a little taste of their own medicine there as they try to skip a ball through the zone.
We saw Waxer score a goal in the last seconds of quarter number 1. Can Southside now pull off a similar trick, as they are going to have an opportunity to hold here on this last possession?
So Southside added 1 more lefty in this mix here. They got 3 righties, 3 lefties, and I think they're going to talk over this last possession.
As that is exactly what DiPietro wants to do. We've seen both teams strategize because they know how important every single possession is turning out to be. And with that, we'll step aside, take a breather. 41.6 seconds to go in the first half. Syosset leading Southside 6-4 on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Help keep Varsity Media's broadcasts free on YouTube by considering an advertising sponsorship. Our coverage of local games helps local businesses get visibility in the community. To learn more about our sponsorship packages and rates, email ben@varsitymedia.net.
So the Cyclones talking things over on this final possession of the first half. 41.6 seconds to go, and they are trailing Syosset here in their backyard 6-4. So, Tom, if you're DiPietro and company, what are you looking for here on this last opportunity?
I think you want to carry this zone and be aggressive on some of these big approaches by guys in the zone and not be afraid to run by and dodge it a little bit. You have the shot clock is essentially a non-factor, so you got 41 seconds. You really do want to get the last shot, but you want to be able to get a really good one, so you probably initiate at around 18 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that.
As we see them milking the clock here with Samrani. Brendan Vetter taking over. He has scored at least 1 goal in each of their first 4 games. Has yet to get on the board today. Final 10 seconds for Southside here in the second quarter. Jack Muscarella getting into that point position. Can he set a teammate up? And that is a beauty. An assist to Hawthorne, right essentially at the buzzer to pull them within a goal, 6-5.
Yeah, I mentioned you got to dodge it. You see Muscarella here. He pulls this defender, and it changes the whole shape of the Syosset zone, and Hawthorne does a really nice job. We talked about him being the big shooter, of just finding a spot where he can unleash, and that's a big goal right there going into halftime.
Second to the game for Hawthorne, his 3rd of the season. We have seen his offense come to life as the sun is setting here in Rockville Center, but this game is just getting going between Syosset as well as Southside, and it is the Brody Wexler Show. Not 1, not 2, But Brody Waxer's got 3 goals, a hat trick to have his team up by 1 heading into the break on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves. You've seen the dedication, the long hours, the early mornings, the sacrifice. You know your athlete has what it takes, but how do you make sure the right people see it? The recruiting process isn't easy. Coaches are flooded with highlights, but how do you stand out in the crowd? At Varsity Media, we specialize in creating game-changing ISO videos, high-definition, athlete-focused footage that highlights exactly what college recruiters want to see. With our up-close ISO video, we capture your athletes' key moments. No more wide angles showing other players. This is just your athlete's pure, raw talent. This is more than a video. This is the opportunity your athlete deserves. Give your athlete the edge they need. Make the right impression with Varsity Media's ISO video service. The future starts now.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
Well, I've been working with Varsity Media for, 14 years. When we have video needs, whether that be a game, whether that be a practice, whether it be social media, it's nice to know that somebody understands what we're looking for without asking for it.
We started working with Varsity Media back in 2021, and since then they've been an absolute game changer, putting our event on the map. Varsity Media couldn't be a better partner, and if you're looking to optimize your event, I couldn't recommend them anymore.
It's been great for us. You know, the kids really get excited when they know that Varsity Media is going to be here. Not just what's happening on the football field, but all the excitement that's around it. It really boosted the environment here, and everybody gets really excited for what's going on.
Varsity Media is reliable, professional, and their quality work is fantastic. It's like watching ESPN. The announcers are unreal, really do a great job of speaking to the coaches to get the knowledge of the players, the season, what's going on with the team. There is nothing better than Varsity Media doing a live broadcast.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
He's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off X, 3 in a row now.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Help keep Varsity Media's broadcasts free on YouTube by considering an advertising sponsorship. Our coverage of local games helps local businesses get visibility in the community. To learn more about our sponsorship packages and rates, email Ben at varsitymedia.net.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
one-goal game between Syosset and Southside as they get set to start the second half. And this has been quite the battle royale, and it's worth repeating the recent history, Tom, between both of these programs. Since 2000, Syosset leads the series 11-7, but Southside has won the last 4, and 4 of the last 6 have been decided by one goal. And here we go entering the third quarter, a match that's only separated by one goal.
Yeah, not surprising at all. And the late goal by Southside really, was huge for them. They had been kind of really bottled down by that zone. They called a timeout. Nice job by their staff setting up a play, and Hawthorne gets the late goal.
And that was his second of the game, as we have the opening face-off of the third, and Azevedo nearly won it, and then Brendan Vetter coming out of nowhere as he's going to try to get a shot on goal. And what a remarkable recovery by Weisenfeld to get his stick in the way and prevent that transition opportunity.
Yeah, Vetter, tremendous ground ball in traffic, and then gets under his defender. Really the only spot he could go was high there, and Weisenfeld answers. Good clear there by Danny Desquie. D. Mitty there for Syosset. Older brother David plays at Johns Hopkins, was a great player here in 23-24 for Syosset. Now in the Big Ten with Johns Hopkins, doing a nice job for them.
As Antonacci leaves it to Ryan Rosenfeld, senior midfielder, and he's a lefty.
Yeah.
Draws in the defense there.
Rosenfeld, one of the better athletes on this team, a 3-sport athlete, great football player, and then he's a bowler in the winter. You don't hear that a lot.
Does a little bit of everything, and this is his third year on varsity as they tried to get a feed there inside to Accardo, but it was broken up. And here's another takeaway for Syosset, and a strong fire towards the net. Cole Beekman to pad the lead to 2, 7-5 in the right place at the right time. They call him a smooth dodger, and there was nothing smoother than this.
Yeah, an unusual play there from DeSarlo. I'm not really sure. I think he was trying to get a goalie interference. At least that's what he looks like he's complaining about. And Beekman, really good at these kind of unsettled plays, has a knack for the goal. And when we spoke with Coach Calabria, he talked about how important Antonacci and Beekman are to their offense. You know what you're going to get out of Waxer and Accardo. It's these other guys that have to step up. So you see Beekman there stepping up.
His 5th goal of the season, and based on what we saw in the replay, Connor Erickson of Southside was about a fraction of a second late. His stick was just about to make contact with the ball and maybe prevent Beekman from getting a chance, and here a flag comes in.
And I think we're going to get 2 men down here, Lance. Acevedo has very quietly done a nice job at the faceoff X. Wins this faceoff. He's going to get a cross check, and then he's going to get a slash. So we see the cross check there by Hawthorne, and then as he carries out of traffic, he gets another slash there. Looks like Baron Brock got him pretty good with the baseball bat swing. And Syosset with an opportunity here with a 2-goal lead, and they're going to have a 6-on-4.
So Baron Broik is the recipient of one of those penalties. And if you're Syosset, you're saying to yourself, hey, we've got a 2-goal lead here, 10-16 in the third. This is a real chance for them to put Southside in a precarious spot, Tom, as Hawthorne, who you mentioned, got the first penalty. So a pair of penalties here, each 60 seconds, and a chance for Syosset to not necessarily run away with things, but once again, very much be in the driver's seat of this game here in the second half.
And watch.
And how about a behind-the-back flip into the net for Accardo on point? He's got a hat trick, and it's an 8-5 game.
Lance, he didn't let me finish. I was going to say, you got to watch Accardo. We talked about him in the opener. He's the cutter in these situations, and what a crafty finish there behind the back. Nice ball movement by Syosset. There's the cut, and increases his angle by getting his stick behind his head to the far pipe. Great finish by Accardo, and we have a 3-goal lead, largest lead of the game.
I mean, that was a basketball-esque maneuver, and I know there's a lot of carryover between both of these sports, but that was some nifty maneuver there by Accardo, one to add to the highlight reel. He just needs to learn to be a little bit more patient and allow Tom Rooney to get some color analysis in. That's the only critique here.
I wish he knew. I wish he knew.
I mean, not taking the broadcast into consideration is a major no-no. He'll learn, though.
You know what? I got to be quicker, Lance. I saw that coming. I got to get it out. But if you're Southside right now, this is some big possessions coming at you.
As Jack Muscarella's shot deflected wide.
Southside is far from out of this game. When you have a guy like Notaro at the face-off X, what you have to do is just stack goals one at a time, right? And then go back to the X and hope for a win. You got some shooters here with Samrani and Muscarella on that left side. You got this zone extended.
As that was released by Perna, and it's going to head the opposite way.
Yeah, this is the second time Southside just did not have great balance. Good look, good quick release by Perna inside, just no backup.
Well, and Tom, based on your previous statement, what you were hammering home here is if you're Southside, you've got to play a little bit of small ball, and I'm making a baseball analogy. You can't go for the home run and feel as if you're going to erase a 3-goal deficit with one shot. As Syosset breaking down the pressure and able to settle down here on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, and another really big ground ball for Jeremy Mallon.
And it's a hot potato as Waxer got it. And DeSarlo was fortunate, and that did not fly through the net.
Yeah, this game's starting to really loosen up a little bit, go back and forth, and if you're Southside, you kind of need some of these up and down plays in order to get back in this game. That's not going to help.
A takeaway by Antonacci. And Syosset is back in business here. As Antonacci takes over. Last year, they were just trying to get him into the mix. This season, a bigger role in his junior campaign.
Yeah, Antonacci is a real good player for them. I think his confidence is growing as he's getting more playing time. And him and Beekman, two very similar type of players, guys with high IQs that are, you know, they always seem to be in good spots for this Syosset team.
As Beekman just could not put enough mustard on that one. And unable to save it is Accardo. And one of the things that John Calabria talked about with respect to Antonacci is that they've seen flashes from him in practice. It's a matter of, is he going to get to the pinnacle of breaking out and putting together a number of games where what they're seeing in practice essentially transfers over. As Patron slides through the pressure defense. And Southside looking to ignite a rally here with under 7 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah, nice job by Patron there. Surrounded by three guys, understanding two of them were attackmen. Just got over the midline and then handled the pressure of Gerbasi.
Perner's pass not handled by Jack Muscarella. And here is another turnover.
This is kind of what you talked about before, Lance. You don't have to get them all back at once.
Syosset has had a few opportunities here to make this a 4-goal lead. As they're trying to settle down and get it back into the possession of Waxer. Hat trick in the first half. And we have seen his full arsenal of moves. Screen there from Beekman. As they get it back to Waxer off the dodge. Can he get a look? And he delivers again. Brody Waxer with his 4th goal, and it's a 4-goal lead for Syosset.
Yeah, I love the way he sets this up. He freezes the defense with this big hitch, and then he's able to get himself on the move, and then the overhand to low. He just absorbs that check. He's a big, strong kid. And then look at that placement into the bottom corner. But it started right before that with the big windup. Everyone knows he's a shooter, and the first defender froze on that big windup, and he was able to go from there. I said to you in the opener, Waxer's one of these guys, he almost walks out of every game with 3. You can't let him get 5, right? You can't let him get 6. He's on his way.
And that contact that he absorbed as we have another victory here for Azevedo came from Ryan Madden, their defender in long stickman. And despite that, Waxer still was able to push it through. So it's been a milestone game for him. He got his 150th goal earlier today. He's now up to $152. And his team on the road in a field, in an area, however you want to spin it, that has not experienced a loss, Southside, since 2023. They're going to have to work their magic here with 5 minutes to go in the third. And remarkably, the last time these teams met last season, it was Syosset that entered the 4th quarter with a 5-goal lead, and Southside outscored them 8-2 in the 4th and won 13-12. So if you're Syosset, Tom, you know this is far from being over.
Yeah, I think the Syosset staff will probably remind him of that at the quarter break. You get a feeling that this is an important defensive stop right here for Southside. You cannot think that this game can get to 5 goals and you can rally again.
Accardo tried to go high off the feed from Antonacci, and it is going to head back to Southside.
Yeah, so they're going to get a shot clock violation there. It's a big stop for Southside. I mentioned you have Nataro. Nataro won that last faceoff, could not get himself out of trouble. And if you're Southside, you're going to have to deal with this ride. Southside does a nice job of bumping people up and really making it difficult. And there you see it.
As Hawthorne tried to cut through, but lost the ball in the process. And Antonacci looking a little tic-tac-toe starter there. And that shot by Romanello bounces wide.
Yeah, Antonacci, we were just talking about him, always in the right spot, hustling, comes up with that loose ball. And then a good look inside to Romanello. If I'm Syosset, I want to be careful about slowing this down too much, right? You want to keep being aggressive. You got a lot of momentum here, and like you said, there's some history, right, that really no lead is safe on this field.
Very recent history.
That's right.
You do not have to go back and deep into the archives, as those wounds are still sore from a year ago. Out of the point position, Antonacci getting it to Accardo. $20 seconds on the shot clock for Beekman. $15 to work with. Off the spin, boxed out is Antonacci, and Waxer tries to go cross field to Birch. And the Southside Cyclones survive that one.
The defense has really answered the bell here, Lance. It's dealing with this ride right now. Syosset's in a 10-man ride. This is a go for the jugular type of move by Syosset. Good clear right there by, looks like, Patron.
As he gets it to Kieran Vetter. Jack Muscarella had a great start to this game, been relatively quiet since. .45 seconds for them on the shot clock with 2.5 to go in the third. As Brendan Vetter trying to spin off of traffic, and that one goes wide from his brother.
Yeah, good look by Vetter. Good shot by the other Vetter.
They're vetting each other.
That's it. And Southside had an opportunity there. Syosset was in man. They didn't have a pole on. They had all three shorties back. And I think if you're Southside, you got to take advantage of every opportunity here moving forward.
Can they get a good look for Brendan Vetter? Instead, he's going to give it up to Kieran, his brother, who gets tripped up. And that bouncer heads behind the net. As we have a flag come in as well, so a foul here. And maybe the door opening for the Cyclones as a result.
Yeah, I love what Kieran Vetter did there, attacking the zone. I talked a lot about it. I don't think you can just throw the ball around the outside. You got to carry and throw back, and then you got to attack it. You got to attack and beat a guy. And Vetter does just that and draws the foul. You see him step through, and it looks like either a trip or a slash. They haven't put the...
Yeah, Romanello was the one that came over with the stick that we had seen. But it is going to wind up going against Desqueen.
So you got a minute penalty here for Southside, and you got Hawthorne is the big shooter on the right side. You got Samrani and Muscarella on the left side.
As that one bounces wide, it'll stay with Southside. 45 seconds remaining on the penalty with 58 on the shot clock.
You got Vetter behind here kind of running the point.
Samrani, that's deflected out as he stepped right into that shot.
Yeah, that's a beautiful save by Weisenfeld. I think he took that one off his leg. Able to get down on that ball. Good look. Got some big shooters here.
Samrani, the extra pass to Hawthorne as they continue to whip it around. And Muscarella, the scoop by Weisenfeld from point-blank range. Josh went low, and an absolute robbery to keep this a 4-goal lead for Syosset. And they get it into the hands of Waxer. Do they have a shot there? And that is denied. DeSarlo able to get a stick in the way of Accardo.
Yeah, and it started with the great save from Weisenfeld here. Good ball movement. Muscarella steps in. That's about a 7-yard shot. Weisenfeld tracks it.
And right as we return to action, it is Noah Birch tossing it through for his 4th goal of the season. And how about the road team jumping out to a 5-goal lead as they were able to put it out of the reach of DeSarlo.
Really good job by Birch there, getting under his defender and getting back high enough so he has a good angle on the cage, getting back to his left hand. Nice goal by Birch, and that's a big one with less than a minute to go in the third quarter.
That is his 4th goal of the season, and now Nataro and Azevedo back to center field here. And it is going to be won by Southside. So they'll have 45 seconds to try to cut into a deficit that stands at 5 goals right now. And a loose ball picked up by Brendan Vetter, and then he can't get a feed through. So it is going to stay a 5-goal cushion, as that was a recovery by Weisenfeld to prevent what looked to be a high percentage opportunity.
Yeah, what a look from Vetter and Nataro. What a good, I mean, that's a 5-yard shot. Weisenfeld gets down on it. Weisenfeld's been sharp here.
He has been all over the place, boxing out the Cyclones, who now have 28.1 seconds to work with here in the third.
Yeah, I think if you're Southside, you play this straight up here early, see if you can get a good look. And once it hits about 10 seconds, if you don't have it, you hold on to it. Be no face going into the fourth quarter in your ball. I think when you're down 5, though, you got to kind of play this straight up here and try to get a look.
Everybody getting involved here as they get it into the point position. Hawthorne with the slide. 8.6 seconds to go. As Hawthorne has accounted for 2 of his team's 5. And it looks like they're just going to be content running this clock out and not getting anything off as Brendan Vetter will hold on to it. So how about this storyline? This was the exact same score that Syosset had over Southside entering the 4th quarter of last year's matchup. And it was Southside rallying for the win. And the reason why Syosset is in front, because of the magic by Accardo digging deep into his bag of tricks. His team a quarter away from a significant statement on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
You've seen the dedication, the long hours, the early mornings, the sacrifice. You know your athlete has what it takes, but how do you make sure the right people see it? The recruiting process isn't easy. Coaches are flooded with highlights, but how do you stand out in the crowd? At Varsity Media, we specialize in creating game-changing ISO videos, high-definition, athlete-focused footage that highlights exactly what college recruiters want to see. With our up-close ISO video, we capture your athlete's key moments. No more wide angles showing other players. This is just your athlete's pure, raw talent. This is more than a video. This is the opportunity your athlete deserves. Give your athlete the edge they need. Make the right impression with Varsity Media's ISO video service. The future starts now.
Tonight's game is sponsored by Brian Skilled Home Care. Owner Brian Mannon is a Southside grad, a former Cyclone himself, and has spent over 10 seasons coaching PAL Lacrosse and RVC Titans football right here in the community. Brian, thanks for your continued support of Long Island sports and for the care you provide for Long Island families through Brian Skilled Home Care. As we are ready to start the 4th quarter here in Rockville Center, New York. And it is Syosset on the road having a 5-goal cushion over Southside, a team that has not lost a game at home since 2023, 30 consecutive victories. And this is going to be quite the event, given in the back of their minds, Tom, once again, they've got to be remembering, since it is an identical score, this was the exact position they were in last year, but they could not finish the job and wound up losing 13-12.
Yeah, and it starts right here. If you're Southside, you got to man up. You have over 30 seconds. You need to score here and start this rally.
So Southside with the first possession of the 4th quarter. They scored 8 goals in the 4th quarter of the last meeting between both of these teams a year ago. They get it into the point position. Here's Hawthorne. And Samrani did not have an opening. Hawthorne, a high pass is going to sail over his head. Now, was it deflected? They're going to say it was. So 11 on the shot clock here. A little give-and-go action, and they slice it right through Weisenfeld. It's the 2nd goal of the game for Dylan Berenbrook, the sophomore who's up to 7 on the season.
Yeah, great placement. They get the ball back off the deflection and just a little late closing out on Berenbrook, and what a spot he puts this in. We see how difficult it is to beat Weisenfeld tonight, but this is just an absolute laser off stick. And if you're Southside, I mean, this is how comebacks start, right? And now it's back to the X, and Notaro needs to get hot. Give a lot of credit to Matt Acevedo. He's been really good in that 3rd quarter, battling Notaro, getting the better of Notaro in that 3rd quarter. If you're Southside, Notaro has to get hot.
They score 40 seconds into the 4th quarter. And now it's on the shoulders, as Tom mentioned, of Notaro to do what he's done all season, winning 76% of the time. And can he continue to beat Azevedo? He does. So another possession here for Southside. As we see Brendan Vetter.
Vetter was the hero in their comeback win over Gil St. Bernard from New Jersey with 2 late goals. He had the tying goal and the winning goal, so we'll keep an eye on Vetter. But right now, Southside's got to solve this zone.
He had the game-tying goal with 40 seconds left in that contest, and the game winner with 5 seconds. But he has yet to get on the board today as he sets up Hawthorne. A little in-and-out action. That shot blocked by Weisenfeld as Hawthorne following it up.
No goalie.
And it is going to be a possession here for Southside. But Weisenfeld gets back, but he's late on the recovery, and Samarani takes advantage. 2 goals in a minute and a half for Southside, and they have closed the gap to 3.
How do you make a comeback? You got to have some funky plays. Great job by Samarani taking his time. Weisenfeld gets back in the cage. Great hustle. You see him getting up there, but he's not quite settled. He doesn't exactly know where he is in the cage, and regardless, Samarani with a great placement on that shot. So here we go. 10-5. Now it's 10-7. If you're Syosset, it's, not again. And if you're Southside, you want Notaro to keep this going.
Samarani with his 6th goal of the season. A ground ball is going to be picked up by Southside. Ryan Madden there. And a 3rd straight possession to start the quarter for the home team. As that high floater ends up in the stick of Notaro. He draws the double here and stays alive.
Nice job by Notaro there. Good composure. Syosset staying really aggressive on that ride, and Notaro, you often see guys panic and throw the ball away, and he was able to just gather and get the clean clear.
Perner, the extra pass, and the shuffle throw no good. The follow is saved again by Weisenfeld. Dylan Berenbroik was there, and he was not going to get a free passage.
I mean, that is absolutely point blank, and Weisenfeld gets down on that. Tremendous.
Unfortunately, the momentum is short-lived as here comes Southside off a takeaway.
And this is the recipe for a comeback, right? You need to messy the game up. And they got numbers here. I think Vetter sensed it that no one else did. You ride hard, and you need these turnovers in the clearing game.
We passed the 9-minute mark here in the 4th. And Southside outscoring Syosset 2-0 here in the final quarter. As Syosset's defense answers the call with a key takeaway.
And they're going to get a flag here. It looks like maybe a slash or a hold or something there on Syosset.
So this is a delayed penalty, and now they'll stop play.
I said on Syosset. I should say for Syosset. Looked like a Southside could be Vetter there on a slash. Let's see.
And it's the last thing, if you're Syosset, that you want to give Southside trailing by 3 goals here, and it's going to actually be on the opposite side.
Yeah, last time they went man up, you had the Accardo cut and the behind-the-back finish. That's part of a play where he will cut. If he's not open, they run that wheel, and there's so much attention on Waxer. Usually you get Accardo coming around as the 3rd part of that wheel, so watch for that. Waxer just gets so much attention in these situations, as he should. He's such an outstanding outside shooter.
So the penalty goes against Vetter, Brendan Vetter. And now Syosset looking to restore a 4-goal lead.
I would think Syosset would be just a little bit patient here. You got a full minute with a man up. Why not spin it a few times? And that's exactly what they're doing. Now they get into that wheel.
Under 40 seconds left on the penalty as they get it into Waxer's hands. He's got 4 of his team's 10 goals.
Yeah, and if you're Syosset, you're content to run this shot clock all the way down if you have to.
An attempted shot is not going to happen there as the ball just drops out of the stick of Accardo. He had it, and as he looked to flip it out, just lost it.
Yeah, was trying to shoot it before he had it. Tough one there. But this is the man down clear that's always tricky.
So Southside effectively kills the penalty and avoids Syosset from getting one back. And now the Cyclones here will look to continue their rally.
Yeah, crafty play there by Jack Muscarella. Good look.
And that shot, Weisenfeld read beautifully to deflect it back.
Yeah, nice job by Perna behind, pushing that side. Got Muscarella free, but Weisenfeld with a great save.
So Perner out of the X position as they get it to Hawthorne.
Yeah, we've seen them carry and throw the ball on a skip pass over to Hawthorne.
Off the spin, the dump-off shot is short. And again, Weisenfeld is there. As we saw, Jack Muscarella was trying to shift gears through multiple defenders. And Weisenfeld, Tom, he felt the pressure early on. They scored 2 goals, then all of a sudden it's a 3-goal game. He's responded very nicely in the last few possessions to counter the Cyclones.
Yeah, and, you know, if you're Southside, you're kicking yourself a little bit because you were able to kill the man up. Right, get the ball back, and you know, you almost wanted to see a little bit of a better shot to keep this momentum going. And if you're Syosset, this is where you're really patient. You know, you're going to get an aggressive defense, find the guy who's going to overplay their offensive player and let him go.
They've got 30 seconds on the shot clock with under 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Here's Waxer. Boxed in, switches hands, and the underneath slot shot finds the bottom of the net for his 5th goal of this game, and just maybe an early dagger, a sensational opportunity, and he delivers in the clutch.
Well, I'm glad I could be here for the Brody Waxer highlight show. The one-handed, watch this, he gets a great lift by Muscarella, so I'll move it to my right hand and just snap it. Talked about how big and strong he is. That's an incredible play. That's why you score 150-plus goals in high school when you're able to do stuff like that.
And that's the big reason why the Wolverines landed quite the offensive weapon next year, as that is where the senior is headed. Nataro comes out of the pile and from long range is denied by Weisenfeld. Yet a takeaway here by Hawthorne, and Southside has now a 4-goal deficit to make up for. And the clock ticking away near 5 minutes as they have not been able to slow down Waxer. Hawthorne is going to give it up to Perner. And Kieran Vetter falls down, loses the ball, as Syosset's defense strikes again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Nice job by Syosset collapsing on that. They've remained aggressive in that zone the whole night. Right now, you got to clear if you're Syosset. Great handle by Danny Desquie, the D-Midi. And they might have pushed their luck there a little bit.
As the squee then could not handle it on the return. And they're going to give it to DeSarlo here to jumpstart their attack. Under 4.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and a 30-game home winning streak is on the line.
And if you're Southside, you don't want to take bad shots, but you got to work fast here. Time is not on your side. You're going to have to take some risks.
Vetter just could not control that offering and went high above the net.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Vetter's one of your better shooters. Try to go low to high. Again, you want to stay aggressive here. You got plenty of time on the shot clock, but everybody on this field has to be aggressive if you're Southside. And I love the way Syosset has stayed in this zone, stayed aggressive, making it really difficult on Southside.
25 seconds on the shot clock. And that dodge is going to lead to a goal. Jack Muscarella just muscling his way through traffic, his second of the day, and Southside pulls within 3.
And this is what I'm talking about. You get a skip pass there, little risky in zones, but you got to take some risks. And then Muscarella attacking his matchup, which is really what you got to do. Good placement right there. Weisenfeld has been so good all night, and he's just able to beat him to the near pipe.
So they get the ball into the hands of the senior captain, and he finds the back of the net to now give Notaro a chance to win this faceoff. And Notaro answers the call. So Southside trailing by 3 with just over 3 minutes to go.
And with Notaro out there, it looks like Syosset's going to go man. So this is an opportunity here for Southside. And a turnover. Looks like it's overturned by the officials. Loose ball push. Kind of dodged a bullet there if you're Southside.
As Muscarella was walking that tightrope. Here's Reagan Petrone. He has not scored a goal this season. Looking for an opening, triple teamed and then some, and coughs it up. And then a flag comes in after it was secured by Romanello.
Yeah, Petrone with a little bit of a kamikaze dodge there, just trying to get to the middle of the field. Right, you're down 3. Someone's got to take a risk, and when he got in there with the loose ball, he's going to get drilled there by a Syosset defender. And here you go. You got an opportunity on a man up. You're down 3. Now the clock feels like there's time here if you can score on this man up, especially Notaro's won the last 3 faceoffs.
So the penalty goes against Ryan Chan. And Southside with the man advantage, down by 3 goals with Hawthorne jump-starting things. And they will have a minute to work with. And immediately, Brendan Vetter looked to get it through, and Weisenfeld has once again put up a brick wall.
Yeah, and it's the right take by Vetter. He had... Oh, we got a call here. I'm not sure what to call. We got a timeout by Syosset. Great call by the Syosset staff there right before the turnover. I like the take by Vetter. Tried to fake low and go high, and Weisenfeld just answered it. We've said that a lot tonight about Weisenfeld.
So here is the upcoming schedule for Syosset. Beth Page, and later on they'll visit Wantagh and Plainview JFK as we get into the heart of April. For Southside, the Cyclones, as they are still looking to rally the troops here They're going to be on the road at Bethpage, and that, of course, is a broadcast you can see right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And then Cary and Farmingdale. And another game that will be highlighted here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. So a lot of action for the Cyclones will be on full display, and you should subscribe to our various social media outlets at Varsity Media, as this has been quite the affair. It started off with both teams exchanging goals, then Syosset was able to jump out to a 5-goal lead entering the fourth quarter, just like they did a year ago. And here we are, separated by 3 goals with 2.5 minutes to go, and Syosset in possession out of the timeout. And Waxer using that strong frame to get beyond the pressure D from Southside. He has been a headache for the home team. And again, so effective in switching hands and maneuvering that stick.
Yeah, he's the right guy to have with the ball, and if you're Southside, you really want to push out on everybody else. I probably would not allow 19 to get the ball back. I mean, he's done just about everything tonight.
As they've got 35 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Romanelli. As he'll get it to Beekman.
Syosset doing a really good job right now of handling this pressure.
Romanello with 15 seconds. Birch, he's got a goal in this game. But right now, they're just trying to milk as much clock as possible with 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And Waxer with a dribbler right towards the net. It went slightly wide, and DeSarlo was there to get his stick in the way. And then there was a flag that came in with just under 10 seconds to go on the shot clock.
Yeah, too many men on Southside. It came off that ride. They had 7 guys back on defense. This puts Southside in a tough spot now because you're going to have to go out and pressure, but you're going to be down a man.
As we see Steve DiPietro talking things over with one of the officials in this game. And if you could read body language, it's not a positive conversation for Southside.
Yeah, often coaches and officials don't see the same play the same way, right? Coach DiPietro thought it was a ward. Our official says, I didn't see it that way.
A minute 16 to go. And a Syosset team that has been with Southside every step of the way is looking to put the finishing touches on a very impressive performance on the road.
You know, when we talked to Coach Calabria, he mentioned the senior leadership, and Ricardo and Waxer is the 1-2 punch, Weisenfeld in the cage, and the experience of Jeremy Mallon, his top pole, even though only a junior. All these guys were here last year for the big comeback and the really tough loss. And you could almost feel it slipping away, and it was the seniors. It was Waxer, Ricardo, Weisenfeld, who really answered the bell and shut the door on any comeback opportunity for Southside.
And also, if you look at the tally here, holding Southside to under double-digit goals, and they had, remember, 5 entering the fourth. So Weisenfeld has really risen to the occasion, given the circumstances of this game and the recent history that we went through. Is Waxer running out into open space. 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock. So there's about a 5-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock, which really allows Syosset to pretty much take it till the end.
Yeah, and I think Waxer will turn and just throw this in the corner. And
that is exactly what he's going to do. Is it'll be a shot clock violation with 5 seconds and counting. As they're going to go for the Hail Mary toss. Final buzzer sounds, and that is going to do it. Syosset doing the unthinkable, avenging their loss from a year ago and knocking off Southside on the road in their backyard for the first time since 2023, as Southside's 30-game home winning streak comes to an abrupt end with an impressive 11-8 victory for Syosset here in Rockville Center, New York. We will step aside, come back with post-game reaction and more as Syosset improves to 4-1 by ending the massive winning streak for the Cyclones on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
And back here in Rockville Center, New York, as Syosset knocks off Southside 11-8 to end the Cyclones' 30-game home winning streak. It is time now for the Save of the Game, brought to you by Breakout Goaltending Group, Long Island's longest-running goalie-exclusive training program, serving boys and girls elementary through college age all year round since 2004. Today's Breakout Save of the Game winner receives a certificate good for one complimentary lesson with Long Island's finest Breakout Goaltending Group. Visit them online at breakoutgoaltending.com. So, Tom, let's take a look at the Breakout Goaltending Save of the Game, and it's none other than Weinsfeld.
Yeah, how about two? How about two in a row? Really good save on the first one and an outrageous save. See Samrani here with that's a tough shot. He saves it with the body, and then you have the point blank, and he gets back down on it. Weisenfeld was fantastic all night. That's a breakout save of the game.
The all-county goaltender from a year ago, limiting Southside to just 8 goals, a team that easily could put up double digits without any hesitation. And this is some victory, big picture perspective, Tom, for a Syosset team. 4-1. I know it's only 5 games into the season, but what do you think a victory like this on the road can do for John Calabria's group here moving forward?
I think it's a great answer after a tough loss at home on Saturday to Sachem North. I think it's a great win because of the quality of competition you're playing in Southside, and it's the kind of win you can really build on. Your stars came to play. Southside knew who Brody Waxer was. They couldn't stop him. They had no answer. He comes out with 5 goals. The 1-2 punch, Accardo answers the bell, has some highlight goals, and then you have a goalie that, quite honestly, he's one of the best goalies on the island, and when you play the kind of zone defense in front of him and force really tough shots, Syosset's going to be in every game because of that trio right there.
And he got the support of 5 different players scoring at least 1 goal to help support his cause, as Syosset moving on to a 4-1 record, and Southside is going to fall to 3-2. As that is going to wrap up our coverage here in Rockville Center, New York. It started off with a lot of hype and a lot of excitement before all of a sudden the clinic got going. Brody Waxer started off with his 150th career goal, and then how about Accardo behind the back, just adding another layer of fun. Southside trying to rally, but Weisenfeld made it very difficult as he was all over the place and then some, as both of these teams added another chapter to their rivalry. And Waxer switching hands through traffic just barreling his way through that Southside defense. It adds up to an 11-8 victory for the Syosset squad that goes to 4-1. Our executive producer, Ben Turchin, technical director, Chris Sweeney, camera operators, Steve Ferrandino and Kevin Catalanato. For Tom Rooney, I'm Lance Meadows saying so long from Rockville Center, New York. Final score 11-8 in favor of Syosset as you've been watching the Varsity Media Sports Network.